Time to get to work. A pair of hold-ins coming to an end on Monday in Cincy. The Bengals give star edge rusher Trey Hendrickson a $14 million raise for this coming season, but that's it. No long-term deal, rather a restructure that brings Hendrickson's total to $30 million this upcoming season. That slots him as the sixth highest paid edge rusher. The 30-year-old leading the league in sacks last season and coming in second the season prior. The two-time champ in black and yellow here to help us make it all make sense. Bryant McFadden, always a pleasure to be with you. Mac, multiple schools of thought emerging following this deal with Hendrickson, but from where I'm sitting, feels like Trey comes in short of his due number right now, and since he kicks the proverbial can down the road, what do you make of the deal?
Where was this solution months ago? Where was this agreement months ago? Where was this financial thought by either side months ago? Because everything was stagnant. No one was talking. Nothing seemed imminent in getting done. And now all of a sudden they come to terms. Like, my thing is this, Joe. Now, granted, Trey Hendrickson still took less, but he got a significant bump compared to what he was supposed to receive. Cincinnati, what was this gesture months ago? Because you had allowed your best defensive player to not be in any football shape as you get ready for the season. You're a week away, a full week away, and now you get something done. So I don't know what was the issue from either side, but me personally, we all felt like something would get done. It was just a matter of time, but they waited until the 25th hour to get something done. This is a defense that has been horrendous. This is a defense that has been horrendous with Trey Hendrickson getting 17 sacks. So now he's been away. He's not acclimated to this new defensive scheme that they have. The other players that they have brought in, there's no chemistry, and you're just going to throw him out in the fire week one and hope for the best? Football-wise, this does not make any sense at all. And I can tell you this much. What has been the issue for Zac Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals year after year after year? Getting off to a slow start. In the month of September, Zac Taylor, as the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals, 7-14-1. 7-14-1. That is his overall record in September. So now, when you look at now finally getting something done with Trey Hendrickson, where will he be week one when things get to rolling for real? We don't know. But it just, you said help you make sense of this. It doesn't make any sense because this could have been done weeks ago, where this man could have been on the grass with his teammates getting ready to go.
Yeah, the when of it all does beg question. I have a couple more as well, because it doesn't sound like there's any verbiage in this new rework that protects him from a future franchise tag on the tail end of this deal. Again, just the one-year rework. If I had to guess where we're headed next, it's going to be around $27 million, that tag next year, or at least that's where it's projected. That would mean Hendrickson is 32 going on 33 next time he gets to bite the apple. You made a great point a moment ago off air. Tell me why the franchise tag might not be realistic as they look towards Hendrickson's future. And a second question on the top of that, is this bad business by Cincinnati when you're trying to tell the rest of the league this is the place you want to play?
Yeah, when you look at the cap for next season, I don't know if that's a financially good decision because of the cap structure. When you tag a guy, that one player holds a lot of cap space. That's why we rarely see players play under the tag. The tag is usually a stopgap to get something done in terms of an extension. But when you look at Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is getting paid high-level money. Jamar Chase is getting paid elite money. T. Higgins is getting paid high-level money. I don't know if they will have enough cap space to potentially tag Trey Hendrickson. So I don't know exactly what this is about moving forward, because you still would think Cincinnati would love to keep one of their prominent defensive players in uniform for a few more years left to come. And then in terms of free agency and free agents that are noteworthy, this tells all of us that Cincinnati, they're not even bargain shoppers. They shop for sales. Basically, you know, when back in the day when you used to go to stores and they had a tag on the clothing item and it had on sale, it's 40 or 50% off. That's what they do.
They're at the garage sale right now.
Yes, we just heard Boomer Esiason complaining about getting invited to come back to Cincinnati. He got to pay for his own flight and get his own hotel. What? Like, what are we doing? So Cincinnati is just, they're hustling backwards, I think, for sure with me, when you look at some of the moves they've made, especially if you talk about the defensive side. Because last time I checked, Joe, we watched a lot of football together. What is the one concern for Cincinnati as a team?
It's that defense.
Who's the best defensive player?
That man who's going to show up to camp tomorrow.
He show up to camp tomorrow. Put it on his cleats for the first time all offseason tomorrow.
It's a solution, but it is a short-term solution. It is the thinking in Cincinnati right now, to your point, Mac. Everything is short-term. The future of this franchise very much in question, but Trey Hendrickson is going to be back a piece of it. If he goes for a sack a game this coming season once again, someone's going to pay him. I don't care, 31, 32, 33. They might have to slap him with that franchise tag. We'll see how it plays out, but they got their big piece back off the edge. We'll see how immediately his impact is felt. Everything means something somewhere, and this means big things in Cincinnati, but it also means something elsewhere. This news comes across the wire, Mac. What's Jerry Jones thinking?
Well, Jerry Jones is thinking he moves at the own beat of his drum. And Trey Hendrickson's extension or move money has nothing to do with what he has going on with Micah Parsons. And the same football concern that I echoed about Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati, you get a deal done in the 25th hour. You could have got this deal done in the 4th hour. Like now for Micah Parsons, Micah hasn't participated with the guys at all. Once again, this will be a new defensive scheme there in Dallas. And all he's been doing is been walking around watching. So whatever deal happens to happen with Micah Parsons, you could have already got this deal done instead of not allowing your best defensive player to be ready to go week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Joe, you played the game just like I played the game. There's a such thing as being in good shape and football shape. Mm-hmm. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing at all. It's different. It's different. And that's why we see so many players, when they hold in or hold out, when they finally get on the grass, we see soft tissue injuries surface, or they just out of wind. They're not in shape. It's not in shape. So me personally, I still believe they will get a deal done with Micah Parsons. But the same thing that I said about Trey Hendrickson, the deal that actually happens, when it happens, this could have happened months ago. Why wait? Why wait till the 25th hour when you come out the gate? Dallas against Philly? So now, best case scenario, your best player on the defensive side probably would be a situational football player because he won't play every snap, every down. That's not happening because he's not in football shape.
My guy Mac giving me some flowers. I appreciate that. But Division III football and Super Bowl Sunday far apart. Can't wait to have you nearby here on each and every Sunday. We got more to get to here as we got more money moving on Monday. The Washington Commanders coming to terms with their wide receiver one, Terry McLaurin, agreeing to a 3-year, $96 million deal. Now that's an extension. $30 million comes in a signing bonus up front, thus ends Scary Terry's hold-in and aligns him with Jaden Daniels on that rookie deal. McLaurin has recorded 5 consecutive 1,000-plus yard seasons and hasn't missed a game since 2020. On an average annual basis, the new deal parking McLaurin 6th overall on equal footing with the Eagles' A.J. Brown, the former third-round pick, already has a $2.8 million vested roster bonus due. That plus the signing bonus and assumed minimum salary. McLaurin will clear roughly $34 million this season, $15 million more than originally due. The Mac is back. More football here. The years make sense for the team. The money makes sense for McLaurin. Is this that rare holdout resolution, Mac, where both sides walk away with exactly what they wanted?
Yeah, no question. I really believe, Joe, both sides walk away and say, we got a great deal. We got a great deal. Now, I never felt like Terry McLaurin would be in the top echelon of wide receiver per year salary. I never felt that way. But the number that he received, I think, is doable when you look at the age, right? When you look at some of the other guys that are getting paid more money than Scary Terry, they're younger. They're younger. They might not be as productive as Terry has been over the last few seasons, but they're younger, and we know how organizations value age, value youth. That could be the same issue that we just echoed, with Trey Hendrickson and with what has happened with him. So for Terry McLaurin, he gets a nice raise. Clearly, he's happy with this deal, and this makes all the sense in the world for Washington because a year ago, Joe, they surprised a lot of people. Now, there's no surprises at all. There's no birthday cake coming out with candles. They are expecting you to come out and ball. So you're going to get other teams' best effort compared to what you probably didn't get week in and week out because they kind of surprised all of us in terms of what we expected as fans. This is a playoff caliber team. Your quarterback is in the midst of a rookie deal. This is where you spend money. This is where you allocate top dollar to other areas on your team to improve, to capitalize on this rookie deal your quarterback is under. And what better way to continue to get the best out of Jaden Daniels than to have the best wide receiver on the team happy, smiling, in the lineup, ready to go.
Yeah, ahead of schedule, easy to say a season ago, and now some scheduled direct deposits for the top wide receiver here. You alluded to it earlier. Hard negotiations sometimes can mean soft tissue issues. Some well-established reference points, players who hold out, missing camp and substantial time prior to the season could miss substantial time during the season with eventual injury. McLaurin is an Iron Man. It's been outlined already. 17 games is what we can put him down for most seasons. Any concern with his readiness physically for September football?
Well, there's always a concern, Joe, when a guy has been just standing and watching. The unique thing about Scary Terry, he's a proven vet. He's always been well conditioned, and he plays a position in wide receiver that comes in and out of the lineup anyway. A wide receiver is not like an offensive lineman. It's not like a cornerback or a safety. It's not like a linebacker where they're in every play in and play out. You know this just like the fans that are watching us know this. Wide receivers come in, they come out. They come in, they come out. You know what I mean? So you can still utilize that mindset to kind of keep him fresh as possible, where he can still have a significant impact on the game offensively. Will he start? No question. Scary Terry is going to be in the starting lineup. But you know when you watch wide receivers, man, most of those guys, man, it's certain times where they just come out they're on the sideline. Then they come in. You know, as corners, DBs, we talk about this all the time. When you look at the wide receiver market and the pay that they're receiving, no question it's deserving. But corners don't come out of the game. When you're a starting corner, when you're a nickel, when you're a safety, whatever the case may be, we're in from start to finish. Wide receivers, y'all know I'm not lying. When I tell a lie, tell me to shut up, Matt. You're talking. You're saying foolishness. You know wide receivers do what? In, out.
The problem being,
In. Huh?
The problem being what this offense is when he is out. When you look at the numbers for a season ago, broader strokes on this roster, they've set that expectation already, but what if you wanted to pull at the strings? I can find a few. Your second leading receiver is a 34-year-old tight end. Your leading tackler is a 35-year-old linebacker, and the pass rush has yet to be tended to. What is fair expectation for this group with or without Scary Terry?
You know what? I believe they're a playoff caliber team, Joe. I really do, because the quarterback is a really, really good quarterback. I like Dan Quinn as the head coach, but there is some issues on their offense. With Scary Terry, to your point, your next best pass catcher is Zach Ertz. Defensively, have they improved? Will the secondary be better? Can they get the necessary pass rush on the opposing quarterbacks they will see? Especially when you look at being in the division with a Jalen Hurts, with a Dak Prescott, with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I'm a bit concerned with that. And I can tell you this much, Joe. We're going to get a real good indicator on what Washington will be week one. And I know when you say week one, Mac, you're like, what are you talking about, B-Mac? They have the Giants. That's a very, very intriguing game. That's a very, very intriguing game. And the reason why is because this Giants pass rush, they're going to go hunt. They have a bunch of defenders that look like what they hunt. And that's what you want. And then offensively with Russell Wilson, Malik Neighbors, you don't know exactly what you're going to get from this offense. So that's why I said week one is a great indication with Washington, what we could see throughout the entire season. Because when you think about this game, Joe, instantly you say what? Oh, that should be a dub for Washington. Instantly, right? But there is some concerns, to your point, in terms of what you asked me, where this could be a very, very intriguing game. And we all know this as well, being fans of the NFL. Divisional football is where you throw records and resume expectations out of the window. It doesn't matter. And
then the quick turnaround for a Thursday nighter with Green Bay. We're getting closer, Mac. Appreciate you as always. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, a look here at exactly what they did a year ago. Ahead of schedule, well, they're on a new one. 12 wins and a trip to the NFC title game where they fell to the eventual champion in the Eagles. Coming up, they put him after the break, and that's sort of the issue. Meyers is going Dangerfield and demanding some respect. We'll explain next. More whiteout news on Monday. Raiders top target Jakobi Meyers has officially requested a trade. That's been confirmed by our Jonathan Jones. Over the past 2 years, no Raider player has more receiving yards or touchdowns than Meyers. He's entering the final season of a 3-year, $33 million deal with Las Vegas. Bryant McFadden in with reaction. Mac, lack of depth, I think, is Meyers' greatest leverage here. Maybe disrespected in some of the production he's had over these last couple years. He's the only rostered receiver north of 550 yards last season. The Raiders then counter by signing Amari Cooper to a 1-year deal. Does Meyers have a case for some new money on his current deal?
No question, Joe. No question. Jakobi Meyers under the radar a year ago, brace yourself. He was the most consistent wide receiver in the National Football League. He was the most consistent. And what I mean when I say that, consistency is always showing up. He didn't drop one pass last season. One pass. Now think about how up and down the quarterback play was in Vegas. And I'm being nice and kind when I say up and down. But let's keep it real.
Which one was up? Which one was down?
It was more down than up. I can tell you that much. But I'm being nice right now. We got a lot of kids watching us, so I'm being nice. But it didn't impact Jakobi at all. Right? Jakobi didn't have one drop pass, over 1,000 yards. So when you look at where this wide receiver market is sitting at, we just talked about Terry McLaurin getting a nice raise. You look at some of the other deals. I'm not saying Jakobi Meyers should be a $38 million per year wide receiver. I'm not saying that. But what he definitely needs a significant raise compared to what he is slated to receive this season. He's outside of Brock Bowers. The passing game has nothing. Jakobi Meyers, along with Brock Bowers, made the Raiders a bit entertaining to watch considering how bad they were a year ago. So yes, he has a legit argument, a legit case to ask for a trade or to ask for more money. Do I think the Raiders would trade him, even with them signing Amari Cooper? No way, Jose. I don't think so, but I do agree with Jakobi forcing the issue to try to get some new money because, to your point, this is his last year of a 3-year, $33 million deal. I don't know exactly what his per year salary is, but if this is the last year of a $33 million deal, where is he sitting? Maybe around 11 million, maybe 10 million this year? What? I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers. But clearly, whatever it is not worthy of who he is as a wide receiver and what he's done.
I don't think there was a bunch of money on the front. I think it is around that 11 number this season. And you got to have some threats outside or you're going to see stack boxes all season for Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. The Lions are looking to make some news, but not until we kick. The NFC hopefuls begin with their climb with our CBS Game of the Week. That's week 1 in Green Bay. Detroit working through the loss of both coordinators and an earlier than expected exit last season. But head coach Dan Campbell thinks the roster is as polished as ever.
I feel like, collectively across the board, this looks pretty good, And I would say, year 5, this is the best we felt about it, kind of top to bottom. And now, that being said, there's still holes. But I bring this up all the time. Every roster has holes. And you'll never have it exactly where you totally want it, but from where we've come year after year, we've taken it another level, and that's a credit to Brad. What Brad's done in the personnel department is outstanding, man. He's just continued to elevate. I bring up the floor. We know the ceiling. Well, we don't even really know the ceiling. There's still so many of these players that are continuing to get better and better that are really good players. But by doing that, the floor has really raised. And so our baseline is pretty dang good right now. And that's a good thing.
Proof once again that the ceiling is in fact the roof. Bryant McFadden, Brad Holmes getting his flowers there from the head man, and with good reason. This roster has been impressive in years past. You look at it this year, and it strikes me as a group of guys eager to prove that the players make the plays and not the coordinators. You walk into this season feeling what about the Lions roster?
I do believe they will be successful. I think they have enough talent to be a playoff caliber team. To Dan Campbell's point, Brad Holmes has been one of the best GMs in the National Football League over the last 4 years or so. Looking at the beast he's built there in Detroit, at when it comes to the personnel side of things. And for Dan Campbell to make that statement, and I love that he gave Brad Holmes his flowers, I have my reservations, Joe, and here's why. When you look at the additions, quality suitors that have become part of the Lions organization, right, to help them in 2025, but look at some of the key components they've lost. And I'd just like to highlight offensive line-wise. With the retiring of Frank Ragnow, that was unexpected. And I understand they have, some youth there that could replace the production, but Frank was unbelievable for that offensive line in terms of the chemistry, the transparency, and just the ability to be elite and run and pass pro situations. Not to mention Kevin Zeitler, who's no longer there as well. That's one thing we've harped about with Detroit, especially on the offensive end over the last 3 years. Their ability to be so stout on the offensive line, right? So yes, you have some new players coming in to kind of replace some of the production that has left, but we have yet to see that on the football field in a meaningful game. One thing I know, the rosters that we've seen in the last 2 years, Joe, they won the division easily. The black and blue division, the NFC North, they won it. They had a nice seed in the playoffs. They made things happen in the playoffs. We don't know what this roster is going to do this season. So for me, to be determined, right? My boots are not on the ground there in Detroit. I didn't go to the Beyonce tour there in Detroit, so my boots were not on the ground. His boots is in Dan Campbell. So I got to trust his football eye. But as a fan sitting far away, I got to see it on display in a meaningful game. The last 2 years, we saw it. We saw that personnel the last 2 years. And you being a Chicago Bears fan, that personnel the last 2 years they had was hell on wheels, week in and week out, and they've had the results to show that also.
Bears played them close in the first one. That was the Eberflus timeout game. We won't go there right now. This was a team snake-bitten by injury a season ago and still produced at that level. We'll see what that star edge rusher back in force looks like. Everybody's saying that Aiden Hutchinson's back and better than ever. We'll see if it's on that defensive player of the year trajectory that we opined about early last season. That'll be a big piece for them. Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's coming fast and furious, and I only offer that because it sounded like a coach that knows what his 53-man looks like already, and most rooms they do. Talk to me just about the player perspective of what cutdown day is like now. I know it was different in your playing day. You got it in spurts, but you get it all at once nowadays.
Yeah, you will have a lot of guys walking around on eggshells, not comfortable, a bit nervous. Anytime their phone ring, they're a bit hesitant to look to see who it is, to see who's calling, because you don't know if they're telling you to come to the locker room, either to tell you made the team or to tell you you're getting cut, you're getting released. So this is always a very, very sensitive, emotional time in the NFL. You have quite a few guys that don't have to worry about receiving that call or that text. But there's a lot of players that we raved about and we've cheered for throughout their collegiate career, getting this next opportunity in the National Football League, where their careers could be cut short, Joe, because the reality of the situation is quite a few players that will get cut in the coming days might not play again in the National Football League. That's the hard truth about the league, man. It's tough. There's a lot that we rave about and we applaud, but this is the ugly side that a lot of fans just see, hear, and move on. And sometimes for players, they never get an opportunity to move on from it, and it's a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, that room gets a whole lot quieter and a whole lot smaller here in the days to come. Bryant McFadden, he's our franchise guy. Don't worry about that phone, Mac.
Hey, don't treat me like Trey Hendrickson.
We got extra money for Mac. Countdown to Sunday is on. September 7th, only a handful away. Our game of the week, the NFL Today crew going to be on site in Green Bay for the Lions and the Packers.